Members of the board, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Alan.
Hi, Mike Bethingle. Sharon Stoughton.
Nice to meet you.
Andy Goulet.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome, Mike, to Michikowski.
I'm Mike Baranowski.
Hi, Mike, Chuck Busatell.
Mike,
Right.
you can't see him, but Chuck is there.
He's in California.
Say hello, Chuck.
See the camera on top of the box? That's,
He
yep.
can see you,
He
we
can
can't
see
see
you.
him, it's really scary. All right.
Okay, thanks, Rich.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine.
Nope. Oh, on this one.
Oh, it's
Nope,
fine.
that's fine.
Okay.
Welcome and thank you for coming tonight. And can you share with us what prompted you to apply for our superintendent's job?
Absolutely. I've been in education for over 30 years and was a teacher at middle school level, high school level, assistant principal at high school level, then became principal middle school level. And I just thought at this point in my career this was the next logical step. I think Algonac is a great situation for me. I see a lot of positive things down here. Thank you, sir. You know, this is just the next step in my career path. You know, as a teacher, I could influence the lives of 150 kids a year. Assistant principal, been on the building 600, 800 kids. You know, superintendent, obviously, you have the chance to influence a lot more kids. So that's why I applied for this job.
And Chuck, we can see you on the screen now as well.
I hope that means that's a good thing. No, I lost you.
Oh, you lost us.
Oh, you muted.
Okay.
He's there.
Mike, I know you're local community.
I can't see you though.
Oh,
Oh. Okay, can you hear us,
I'll
Chuck?
listen.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Being involved in the community is very important. So how would the community members in your district describe your community involvement?
Well, I think that they would describe me as being very involved. I'm part of the City Rec Commission. You'll see me at the winter parades. You'll see me at the Little League parade. You'll see me at the junior football games. You'll see me up at Silver Sticks watching my students play. I'm very involved out in the community. Was a Rotary member, Casey, Knights of Columbus member. You know, you probably knows when I walked in, I stand out just a little bit. Easy to pick out of a crowd, very approachable. I think that if you were talking to anyone in the community, they would tell you the same thing.
Okay, Mike, with a community like Algonac, the school is just such a big part of all of our lives. And the extracurricular activities and the athletic events that go on, how do you see the role of superintendent fitting in there, and what would you do?
I think that any chance you have to be out in the community, talking to people, listening to their perspective of what's going on in the community, building relationships is a must. For those of us that have been around for a while, we know that education has changed. You know, it used to be the my way or the highway. But now it's more of a, you need that team building experience between the parents, the community, and the school. And any opportunity the superintendent has, whether it's athletics, whether it's a play, whether it's a community event, I think it's important that you're there talking to people, making them know that you're approachable, that you want to know their feelings of what's going on, and, you know, making sure they understand that we're all in this together.
Thank you.
To tail onto that question, so what are some examples of what you have done in that regard?
Pretty much exactly what I've said, you know, football games, basketball games, drama, plays, you know, any community event that you can be seen at is just a plus. You're building rapport, not only with your students, which is obviously very important, but with their parents. you know, we all know that parents are coming from a wide range of backgrounds. Some did not have a good experience in school. Some, you know, think it's a us versus them type atmosphere, and we have to fight that. You know, we have to make sure that they know that we're all in this together. Once we get them part of the team, then everything else seems to flow for us.
Much easier. Mike, can you describe a time when you weighed the pros and the cons of a situation and decided not to take action, even though you were under pressure to take action?
This is probably when I should take a drink of water and pretend like I'm thirsty.
Take your time, though. It's a tough question. It's not something that somebody has on the top.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, whenever, and I might have misunderstood the question, whenever I knew action needed to be taken, I've taken action. A situation a few years ago, had a mom come in who was upset, got some misinformation. Her son went home and said that I had said something that I did not say, and she was upset, and she was great about it. She came in and talked to me. And, you know, we straightened things out great. And she said, you know, my husband's out in the car. I said, well, he is. We've been talking for 30 minutes. Why didn't he come in? She says, well, he was afraid he was going to punch you. So I said, well, wait here. So I went outside and talked to him, you know, apologized for the misunderstanding. You know, everything was great. Hindsight, you know, it's a tragedy, and you probably read about it in the paper. That same man is the one who ended up shooting and killing his wife and his 2 sons just a week later. You know, so, you know, there's a situation that if you knew somebody had the mindset of punching in the face, you might not think, you know, I'm gonna approach this guy and, you know, but, you know, it was the right thing to do, just to make sure that we're good to go.
How about in your environment, maybe with other teachers that you're with, and you think that maybe something should be done, or don't think something should be done, and then they're kind of pressuring you on, you need to make this decision. Is anything
Right.
like that ever come up in your situation?
It comes up a lot, but I've never let that influence me one way or the other. I've been very, very lucky in the fact that I've been able to create a culture where I expect and hope that my teachers will push themselves and try new things. So if someone is trying something and it doesn't work out the way they want it to, you know, hey, 2 thumbs up, you gave it a shot. You know, what could we do differently next time? If I have a teacher that I get word that is not following the curriculum, not following the pacing guide, not doing this, not doing that, then, you know, it's my job to approach them and see what we can do to fix that, regardless of where they are in the pecking order of the teaching staff and, you know, that sort of thing. So no, I've never let pressure or thinking what the staff might think about me influence me doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Mike, Chuck up here.
Chuck, where are you?
What are the most important groups you think of people in a school district, and how do you reach out to them?
Yeah, can you read it again, Chuck?
Sure. Who are the most important groups of people in a school district, and how do you reach out to them?
Well, it's obviously the Board of Education. That's easy.
Good answer.
You know, you have different groups they're all important to you. You know, obviously our main concern are the students. You know, their parents are trusting us to keep them safe for, you know, preparing them for life after school. Parents are a very important group. Community, another important group, especially in a city like Algonac. You know, which is one of the reasons that I'm very excited about this possibility. You know, the whole community revolves around the school. Board of Education, I made a little bit of joke to start with, but obviously very important that we're all on the same page and we're communicating constantly. Communication is just paramount to being successful in this position. So the more I can communicate with all groups, students, staff, parents, community, board, the better off everyone is. It's been my experience that, geez, I want to say 90% of the problems that come to my desk have been from some type of miscommunication, either lack of communication or miscommunication. So that's, the more we can communicate, the less problems we have, the quicker we can do our job.
So just to clarify.
Thank you.
I just want to go on a little bit on that one note. So what would you do? What is the first thing you would do in this community to reach out to these groups?
Oh, I would.
What is something you would do?
I would set up a series of meetings. I would be at activities. I would, meet with the chief of police, the fire department, Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, the city council. I would somehow get the word out, hopefully through a newsletter, parent meetings, meet and greet, just informal things. Like I said, and I'm not making light of this. 6-7 works well. In a lot of ways. I'm an easy guy to pick out of a crowd, easy guy for people to come up and talk to. I would do everything I could to spend 28 hours a day, 9 days a week in Algonac to get to know people. Because I want people to know me.
Mike, do you think there's a current crisis in funding now? And if so, what are your suggestions for resolution on that?
There's absolutely a crisis in funding. And the problem is, as you well know, what was it, 2010, 11, I believe, is when the state took $470 away from us per student. And most of the districts, especially the districts like I'm from in Algonac, we're losing students. I mean, we're still a little bit wobbly in the knee from that. So we're losing students. The foundation allowance hasn't kept up with the increase in costs. Healthcare costs are going up. Retirement costs going up. All these things are just the perfect storm for issues, which we're going through it. You're going through it now. I looked at online. I saw what used to be a very healthy fund equity now is getting chopped down. So how do we handle that? Well, all the easy answers have already been taken. You staff to enrollment. You keep doing that. You look to possibly share services with other districts or combine services somehow. You look at every retirement as a possible savings by not replacing that person. Those are the sort of things you look at. But with that said, those are cut. I'm a firm believer that we can't cut our way out of this mess. The problem you have when you start cutting programs, cutting staff, and now all of a sudden you have 30, 31, 32 in all your classes, you're going to lose students, which is what is causing this problem. So my thought would be, we need to find ways to, do a better job. When I say we, I guess I'm already putting myself in the superintendent's role. Promote some of the great things you're doing in Algonac. I've talked to people. Honestly, there are some very innovative things going on in Algonac. Very exciting things. If I hadn't talked to people, I wouldn't have known. Teachers are notorious for getting in their classroom, shutting the door, doing amazing things, and not telling anybody else. We need to do a better job of patting ourselves on the back. We need to do a better job of letting people in surrounding communities know what's going on in this town. Okay? The one-to-one initiative, the IB program, you know, if I hadn't had Miss Weinkoop's son in middle school, I wouldn't have even known IB was here. I mean, that is a big feather in your cap. I mean, we need to let people know that, bring people in.
How would we go about letting people know?
Well, a couple things. Social media, obviously, newspapers, getting with the realtors in town, making sure that they are up to date with what's going on, giving them pamphlets, possibly some type of presentation that they could send out through social media for people to see. You know, those sorts of things I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Speaking about the tough financial times, what are your top 3 priorities and why? So if you were having to make these cuts, what things would you look at as priorities?
First priority is always student achievement. You know, that's why we're here. So you need to protect your programs, you need to protect your students. That is our core mission. After that, I think what you want to protect are the programs, even though I said that with my first thing, that allow students to achieve. Certain programs, the IB program being a great example, I equate it to, I think what a lot of people know are the AP programs. They're going to have smaller numbers. Well, because a class has got 13, 14, 15 kids in it of AP Calc, and I'm equating that to IB, you know, we can't cut that program because those type of kids will go elsewhere. We want those higher level programs. And then the third thing I think that I'd want to protect would be the people that are servicing our students, the staff.
Thank you.
How would you go about introducing yourself to our community, staying in touch with community members, and maintaining a high level of visibility in our community? I mean, at 6'7", that's not, part of that's not gonna be too much of a problem, I suppose.
I have, I've spent a lot of time trying to set up networks of communication. I have a blog, I use Twitter, I've started the PTO at Marine City Middle School and also St. Clair Middle School. They have Facebook pages. Skyward is coming quickly to Algonac, which you guys are gonna love. Big improvement over Zangle. The communication part of Skyward, top notch, to send out information to people. You know, those types of things, I think that I would like to see the webpage redone, make it more interactive. I think it's very serviceable, but I think it needs some tweaks to it, so people can interact a little bit better with it. You know I have more conversations today with my sons texting than I do talking to them. You know, and I think most people are like that. And I think we need to take advantage of that type of technology to get the word out to, as my phone goes off, I'm cute, get the word out.
It was your son.
You know, and use that type of medium to set up meetings, whether it be here, church basement, activity center, you know, going to where people are to meet them.
To kind of ask another question in the same line, we are asking our superintendent, because of all the financial situation all our schools are in districts, to do more. How savvy are you with web pages, websites, and doing all this technology?
I consider myself a 21st century learner. And when I say that, what I mean is, you know, savvy is a very relative term. I think I'm savvy compared to a lot of people I hang out with. I get with my sons, and they,
Not that savvy.
yeah, no, not at all, not at all. You know, I would not put any of that out of my realm of capabilities. It might take me a while, and here's a great example. At the start of the year, I set up a St. Clair Middle School hotline for students. So what they do is, they have a situation where they think somebody's being bullied, they think a friend of theirs might do something silly, they think someone brought something to school that they shouldn't have. We have this hotline number, they just dial it, okay, text, and it comes to me, okay, it comes to Gmail. It is really slick. Took me a week and a half to do. My middle son, at the time, was a counselor at Lapeer East High School, okay? Did it in 30 minutes, okay? So I thought, I was, you know, king of technology. Week and a half, I did this, it's awesome, you know? Lapeer East, boom, done. Hey, Dad, yeah, good idea.
I mean, maybe you stole your ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thought.
He learned from the best.
How many people students use that hotline?
You know, it comes in waves. We have been very lucky. We've had about 3 or 4 that I would consider high fives. I'm so happy I did this. Someone told someone else that they were gonna hurt themselves. And, you know, and I'll get these at any time. You know, Friday night, I'm calling a parent. You know, I just got this text. I have no idea if it's true or not. I want you to check on your son. He must have had a hard day, blah, 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 blah. I would say, you know, overall, I'll get 1 or 2 a week. You know, some are absolutely crazy. You know, someone took my pencil, I have no idea who did it. Well, and they don't leave a name, so there's nothing I can do. But, you know, it's been a very positive thing.
Good, thank you.
Mike, kind of going back to the tough times that school districts are facing right now with declining enrollment and the state cuts. Hopefully we're gonna add some more into it. It's still a tough environment that we're living in right now, we're faced with.
Correct.
How do you keep morale up with your staff?
Well, it's a daily, constant thing that you do that you know, in money issues aside, the rigor has been, you know, increased so much, so much. I'm a math major. I taught algebra, geometry in high school. You know, they're doing that now in 6th and 7th grade, what I taught in high school. It is incredible. Our teachers are extremely upset we had snow days, because now they're behind. You know, their pacing guide is so tight that they're working so hard. I mean, you need to be a cheerleader. You need to let them know what a great job they're doing, okay? Keep things light, keep things upbeat, and it's daily. You know, you ask any of my teachers, any staff meeting, and I tell them how lucky I am, best staff in the district. Every single morning, I walk around and say good morning to them, every single one. You know, make the same loop sometime during the day, just check and see how they're doing. You know, and especially this time of year where you don't see the sun for months at a time, 30 below, and you know, so passing it back, we can do this, we're all in this together, you know, that sort of thing.
How would you do that as a superintendent, though?
I would do it on a, probably, take probably out of that sentence. I wouldn't be able to do it on a daily basis, but I would definitely make the rounds. You know, in order to build a relationship, you have to be out and be with people. You can't lead from your seat. You have to be out, you know, talking to people, making the rounds. Right now, in St. Clair, everybody knows me. All the kids went through the middle school. You know, I'm at any sporting event, I walk in the high school, you know, downtown, anywhere, they know me, you know. That's gonna take just a little bit of time if I was selected here, but that's something that I'm looking forward to. You know, when when I walk into Algonac High School, I wanna be able to talk to kids. I want kids to talk to me, you know?
Okay, Mike, what communication systems or techniques, so you've touched on some of this already, but we'll hear it again. Do you use in a position of superintendent to keep the community, the staff, school board, and students informed about the school? And then I'll have a follow-up with that.
Okay. Well, all the social media, I would use, the blog, I would use, when we get Skyward in, you'll be able to send out mass, texts or emails to parents depending on which form of communication they want, which is really nice. Backing that up just a half step, when you do send out communication though, I think it's important that you make sure that it's meaningful to people. If you just start sending out stuff, you know, then all of a sudden, there's, Ally is texting again, Ally's having lunch today at the high school, you know. So you need to make sure that it's relevant to them. So you do that. And now that I've gone off on a tangent, I forgot what the question was.
What, I did too. What communication systems and techniques are you going to use in your position?
With all the,
With everyone?
with all the technology available, the very best communication is face-to-face. So, meeting with parents, meeting with student bodies, you know, is always best done face-to-face when you can look someone in the eye. You know, board members, I would expect to be communicating with constantly. Nobody on the board likes surprises. You know, if we have a situation going on in the school, you can expect to know about it from me first. You know, I don't want you hearing about something, even though it might have been nothing, from somebody else. Because those are the types of things that will just snowball and cause a mess.
Okay, now, tell us about what you think your accountability to the Board of Education, the staff, community, and students will be.
Well, it's gonna be different. My accountability to the students is to make sure that I'm providing them the tools they need to be successful after school. My accountability to staff is gonna be making sure that they've got the professional development necessary to provide the students the tools to be successful. My accountability to the board is gonna be to keep them updated, keep them informed of any new policies coming down the chute, keep them informed of what's going on in the district. You know, just a constant two-way communication. I know how important it is to be a board member, to be an administrator, to be a teacher. You know, as superintendent, you're superintendent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're the face of the district, okay? And you need to remember that and act professional and do things the right way.
Neither were us.
Thanks, Mike. Mike, have you ever been involved with a bond or a millage campaign?
Many times.
Many times.
Many
And
times.
what role did you play?
The millage campaign, basically a supervisory role where we would brainstorm how to frame the issue, to get it out there and answer questions and get the information out. Bond issue, more on the back end of it, on the construction management side of it. I went through the SUPS Academy for prospective superintendents, where one of the main one of the main subjects was bond issues. You know, and I've got a binder, you know, that big. You know, as far as running a bond campaign, I'm sure that, you know, that would be a team effort to do that. But you get a bond consultant in here and lead you through it. And anytime you go for a millage, go for a bond, go for a sinking fund, which I think might be in the future. I mean, timing is so important when you do something like that, and how you get the information out to people and how you frame it is the most important thing.
Would you put together a focus group? Would you go after the community?
It's been my experience that we have been able to narrow down the community into the for sure yes voters. Those are the people you have to make sure get to the polls, that they don't forget about it, that, you know, we make sure that they get there.
How would you do that?
Well, by postcards, by getting volunteers to call the day of the election, reminding them to vote, you know, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Lot of legwork.
Mike, next question we have for you. What experiences do you have in personnel contract negotiations? Do you have experiences as a lead negotiator or just a member of the negotiating team? And whatever you've had, I'd like some examples of that.
Well, I've served on a number of negotiating teams. I've never been the lead negotiator. I've just been on the negotiating team. I've been through the Michigan Negotiators Academy. I went through that. I've been trained in interest-based bargaining. I've been trained in traditional bargaining. My purpose at the table was to take notes, to give my input once we got away from the table, to strategize, to take apart the budget, to see exactly what proposals would cost, that sort of thing. But I was in our district, the superintendent was always the lead negotiator. I tried, he wouldn't let me.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, you have answered this a little bit already, but perhaps you might have something more that you would like to add as far as what are your methods and some of your activities that have kept you involved with your students, and how would you do that as a superintendent?
I think by going to events, the great thing about education, if you do it correctly, is you build relationships. Once you build a relationship with a student, you always have that relationship. One of the reasons I'm happy I chose the path I did, and I was telling the story the other day, I graduated from Central Michigan with a math major. First job offer I got was from Dow Chemical. You know, they said, we'll make you an engineer. I said, well, not really, I have a teaching degree. Well, we'll train you. I said, you know, I'm gonna give this teaching thing a try. The path I chose, I can't tell you how many times I'll have someone come up to me in the street, they'll stop at the house, you know, they're back from the Army, they'll come to sixth grade orientation and now they're a parent, you know, and I have their child, and, you know, they'll tell me that the relationship that we built, you know, made a difference. So to answer that, as a superintendent, you're out, you're talking to kids, hey, I saw you at the football game, nice job, you know, that 88, he was a big guy, you took him down, you know, that sort of thing. Nice job at the play, okay? I was at the band concert, you guys were awesome. You know, so you're constantly touching lives, and what you get in return is tenfold.
Thank you. Mike, as an educator, I'm positive that you're aware of some statewide legislative issues that are under consideration or that are being implemented. Are there any that are of particular interest or concern to you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm on the MASSP board, and we've been struggling to get them to make a decision with the teacher evaluation tool, which I'm surprised my hair is either not white or pulled out. So that is one issue. And then on top of that, the other issue is, until they make a decision on what the tool is, the governor has set aside $22 million in this coming budget for training. Well, that's not gonna go through until they make a decision on what tool is gonna be used. And they're just, you know, it's going back and forth, and I think it's well over a year when it was supposed to be decided. So that's one thing. The other one that, again, because of my being on the MASSP board, I've got a little bit of ground floor knowledge on this, is the new assessment for the Common Core. Smarter Balance, was supposed to be the one chosen, but it has some holes in it. I mean, it really has some issues. So now, the legislator, matter of fact, we were just there last week, and I got a chance to talk to Representative Lauer. And then I didn't talk to Senator Pavlo, but I've talked to one of his helpers, and their feeling is they're going to go with ACT Aspire. So now there's a little bit of fight with that because MDE wants Smarter Balance. And I think MDE is just afraid to backtrack because they put so much time and effort into Smarter Balance. But ACT Aspire is, from what I can tell, is far and away the better choice. When our kids go to college, what do colleges want to know? They want to know your ACT scores. They don't care about, Smarter Balance or MEP scores, or, they want ACT. So to go with something proven that, you've got me on a roll now, that is going to test all 5 subjects, 3 through 11, compared to Smarter Balance, which is only testing 2 subjects, and then filling in with some Michigan components as social studies and science, is just frustrating.
So Mike, you come from St. Clair,
Yes, sir.
and very similar size to the Algonac community here. How tough would it be for you to change colors?
Oh. Not at all.
Just a simple question. You think you'd fit in pretty good?
I think my skill set would fit Algonac perfectly. I mean, Algonac, the way I view Algonac is a community that doesn't want anything given to them, that are hardworking kids, hardworking parents, hardworking community. They don't want smoke and mirrors. They want to be told the truth. They want to be kept up to date. They want what's best for their kids. And I think that my skill set lends to that very well. I have a lot of maize and blue stuff at home. So, that would not be hard for me at all.
Thank you.
Mike, describe some ways that you have used data to make curriculum decisions that have enhanced student achievement.
We use data to drive decisions constantly. Matter of fact, another feather in your hat, Algonac was a step ahead of us with Data Director. I still remember coming here and getting the tour of Algonac High School and how Data Director is being used and how the teachers are using these common assessments and sharing how the test came out and your kids, your kids really nailed that, mine struggled, what'd you do differently? So we do a lot of that. We're constantly trying to share ideas, share data, and obviously in doing that, not only are we looking for gaps in the curriculum, but we're also looking for gaps for the student. 90% of your kids just nailed that test. Well, 10% really missed this. So we'll use that data to do some type of intervention to boost them back up.
Okay. So you used intervention, that would be your example?
Correct.
Okay.
Intervention, collaboration among teachers.
Okay.
We've got built into our schedule to middle school, what we call SSR, sustained silent reading, but we also use that for intervention time that a couple kids need to go see their math teacher to get a little bit extra help. They'll slide over there during that 19-minute, I think, time.
Are there any programs here in Algonac that you know about that you wish you had in St. Clair?
I know that the mentoring program at the high school, I just found out about that the other day. I think the more mentoring we can do, the better. The one-to-one technology, I'm very envious of. We started that at St. Clair Middle School, but differently. We call it PLDs, or personal learning devices. We're piloting that. That was my idea, to let kids use smartphones or iPads or Nooks in the classroom with the teacher's permission, obviously. But the one-to-one initiative, I think, has got just amazing possibilities.
Mike, I believe I'm lucky enough to answer the last question. Suppose a teacher and a principal could approach you about a student that they're concerned about, and that student has the potential to hurt himself or herself or somebody else within the building. How do you approach that situation?
Well, it would, two different ways. If I'm reading that right, and you're saying that the student might have a weapon, first thing I would do would be to go to the student's locker, check the locker, see what is in the locker. Then, myself and the assistant principal would, depending on the situation where the student is, who's around him, things of that nature, see about getting him away from the student body, call him down to the office, let's have a chat, that sort of thing. If I'm getting the word that she has put on social media, I have a weapon, I'm gonna do this, boom, 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 boom. No pun intended, boom, 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 but, then we'd probably get law enforcement involved. The safety of other students takes precedent in any situation like that. Now, if I'm hearing that the student is talking about hurting themselves, then you take a little bit different track, you get the counselor involved, get the parents involved right away, you get them the necessary help.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
I have two questions. One would be, what do you feel are the strengths of the Algonac School District? And then, to follow that up, what are the areas that you feel could be improved?
One of the strengths of Algonac is its position as a place of innovation, of risk-taking, of collaboration, and being on the leading edge of things. For example, our technology stuff that we did through the bond issue, put in huge infrastructure that nobody can see to support all the smart boards and the wireless and the computers and all the other devices that we use, that our staff uses in the buildings. The one-on-one and our IB program are all parts of things where staff has been given kind of like free rein to, and been encouraged to innovate and take risks and try things and what have you. That's been going on here for a long, long time, and so that's one of the strong points. The other side of the coin, it's all about money.
Yeah.
Declining enrollment, that's happening everywhere. It's not getting any easier. Like I say, our friends in Lansing need to start treating their public schools better, and hopefully that's not too far off, and we'll see. Anything else?
I think something that our school district could work on, everyone involved in it, is communication. I think without it, and I think you alluded to it too, people get the wrong idea, they spread the wrong information, and it mushrooms, and you can't get back what you've lost. It takes forever to do it, and we don't have time to do that. So if we learned how to, from the top down, communicate better with the whole community, I think that would help us a whole lot too.
Thank you very much for coming.
Well, I'm gonna leave you with, something to look at. I have a proposed superintendent's transition plan, my first 90 days, if you wouldn't mind looking through that. And also, I'm gonna leave with Mr. Ramsey a list of an additional 40 references. To be honest with you, it could have been 400. Please, 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 call the people in St. Clair. Ask them about me. Many of my qualities, my strengths, aren't gonna show up in a resume. Okay? I feel that I have strengths in budget and curriculum and personnel. And all those, and the people you're interviewing are gonna have those strengths too. Those are learned strengths. My strengths are leadership, character, approachability, all those things that, I'm very proud that I have those. But that isn't necessarily gonna show up, on a resume or